My dear friend, therein 39th. A message burning in my spirit today, one heaven itself has stirred awake within me. To you who are tired, burdened, and unsure of what steps to take. To you who are pushing, straining, and stretching far beyond your limits just to stay above water. Listen closely. God never intended for you to carry the weight that only he is equipped to bear. He didn't end 39th. He carefully formed you in your mother in 39th. S womb for you to spend your life relying on your own strength. He didn't end 39th. He filled your lungs with his breath so you could waste your days trying to control what Hin 39th already promised to handle. There is a deeper truth, one that can truly liberate you if you in 39th let it sink in. Simply be. Let God take care of the rest. That in 39th, that's right. Let that reality rattle your very bones. Let it awaken your spirit. You were never assigned to fix everything. You were never appointed to be the hero of your own crisis. You were never expected to sort out all the details of your future. God never created you to be the ultimate planner, the designer of outcomes, or the director of destiny. That and 39th as role alone. And when you try to take his place, you end up crushed beneath a crown that was never yours to wear. God says in his word, and quote, be still and know that I am God, end quote. And 39th. It's not a casual suggestion, my friend. Item 39th. As a divine instruction, be still, stop striving, stop spiraling, stop dissecting every possibility until your soul wears thin. Just be present right where you are with all your doubts, your heartache, your uncertainty, and let God enter in. Let him take the reins. Let him be God because he is far better at it than either of us could ever be, you might say. And quote, but preacher, if I stop fighting, 1 in 39th, see everything fall apart. And quote, no. If you stop wrestling in your own strength, you finally allow space for God to battle on your behalf. When you cease pushing forward in your own effort, you in 39th have a witness. Heaven in 39th is power. Rush in like a mighty wind. You in 39th are not falling apart, child of the Most High. You in 39th are falling into his embrace. How many nights have you laid awake staring at the ceiling whispering, and quote, Lord, what more can I possibly do? And quote. And heaven responds, not with more striving, but more surrender. Not with more panic, but more praise. Not with more control, but more trust. Just be, my friend. Be still in the peace of faith. Be still in the quiet where go down the 39th as voice is heard. Be still in the holy simplicity of knowing he still reigns. You may say, and quote, but nothing is happening at and quote. Let me tell you this. Just because you don't in 39th, TC movement does in 39th, T mean God isn't in 39th, T in motion. When a seed is placed in the soil, it appears lifeless. The surface is still, but underneath, life is erupting. Roots are expanding. Structures are taking form. Foundations are being set. That in 39th. That's the story of your life right now. You may not see it, but God is aligning everything in the background. Don't in 39th, T tear up what he in 39th. Nurturing just because the harvest hasn't in 39th. T shown itself yet. God does in 39th. T work by your clock. He does in 39th. T follow your calendar. He is timeless. He is in control. He moves when the timing is perfect, not when fear insists he should. Some of you are worn out. Not because life is unbearably difficult, but because you in 39th were trying to play God. Set it down. You are his child, not the creator. You in 39th are a vessel, not the wellspring. You in 39th are the clay, not the one shaping it. Let that reality both humble and elevate you. The God who spoke stars into being done in 39th, he require your constant striving. He desires your heart. In 39th is not looking for your strategies. In 39th, asking for your surrender. He does in 39th. He wants your blueprints. He wants your trust. You in 39th have been praying again and again, yet peace still escapes you. Do you know why? Because your prayers have been speeches, not surrender. You in 39th have been instructing God rather than trusting his divine movements. You in 39th have been chasing outcomes instead of worshiping him in the mystery. Friend, peace is in 39th. They discovered in perfect solutions. Right in 39th is uncovered in total surrender. Just be still, breathe, trust, and let God take over. Some of you are ready to throw in the towel. You say, and quote, I can in 39th. T do this anymore, that and quote, that in 39th's exactly it. You were never meant to carry the whole load. That breaking point. That moment your strength fails and your spirit cries out. That in 39th, where God draws near. That in 39th, as the altar of surrender. That in 39th, as the moment when your striving ends and his glory takes over. God does in 39th. Work his greatest wonders when we feel strongest. He steps in when you in 39th are undone, yielded, fully exposed before him. That in 39th, as where resurrection power begins. That in 39th, as where lives are transformed. You in 39th, been asking, Anquat, how do I find peace? Anquat, here in 39th is the truth. Stop trying to control everything. Release your grip. Step away from the driver in 39th seat. You in 39th are not asked to carry the cross by yourself. Jesus already bore it to Calvary. You in 39th were not expected to earn his approval. He gave it freely through the sacrifice of the cross. You in 39th were not acquired to direct his plan. He in 39th has written it from the beginning of time. What he asks is simple. Remain in him. Rest, believe, trust. How beautiful it is when a soul lets go of striving and chooses to rest in grace. Grace, not works, not pressure, not performance, but the freely given, unshakable, unconditional love of God that lifts you out of your chaos and places you on solid ground. That in 39th, as the gospel. That in 39th, as the truth. That in 39th, as the power that will carry you through the fiercest storm. And maybe you in 39th are in the fire right now. The bills are mounting. The diagnosis was worse than expected. The relationship is cracking. The job is gone. The friendships have vanished. And you in 39th are wondering, Anquat, where is God, Anquat? I in 39th, I'll tell. You in 39th, right there with you. In the fire, in the storm, in the silence, in the darkest valley, he hasn't in 39th, T abandoned you. He hasn't in 39th, T forgotten you, and he never will. The enemy wants to convince you that your suffering proves God is gone. But let me declare this over you. Your pain is the stage on which God in 39th presence is revealed. Just be my friend. Stop begging for the exit and begin trusting the process. He is refining you. He is teaching you to lean not on your logic, not on your plans, not on your insight, but on him alone. Scripture tells us, Anquat, trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not depend on your own understanding. Anquat, why? Because your insight is finite, but his wisdom knows no bounds. Your perspective is limited, but his design stretches into eternity. Your strength may falter, but his power remains unshakable. You in 39th, you tried navigating life on your own terms. You in 39th relied on your own judgment, and where has it taken you? Worn out, restless, discouraged, and drained. It is time to let go of the illusion of control and embrace the beauty of divine surrender. Your life is not a puzzle to fix. It is a path to trust, a mystery to welcome, a story being crafted by the author of all things. You say, Anquat, but I feel like I in 39th am wasting time just sitting here. Anquat, let me tell you something. Resting in God is far from doing nothing. It is one of the boldest expressions of faith. It is warfare against worry. It declares to the enemy that your confidence is not in your situation, but in the rock that never moves. I tend 39th as a cry to heaven that your faith is rooted in the unseen, that you choose to walk by faith, not by what you see. The world urges you to hustle. God calls you to remain. The world tells you to strive. God invites you to rest. The world says, Anquat, take the reins. Anquat. God says, Anquat, place them in my hand. Anquat. Whose voice will you heed? The loud chaos of culture or the still whisper of the Spirit? One road leads to exhaustion, the other to divine favor. God is not stirred by your packed schedule. He is drawn to your surrendered heart. He does in 39th to reward those who rely on themselves. He exalts the humble. Those who kneel quietly in surrender will rise clothed in his strength. Some of you have been battling for years, battling anxiety, wrestling with fear, haunted by your past, worried about your future. And now God is speaking, Anquat, stop wrestling, stop resting, stop resisting your tail, and begin walking in trust. Just be. Now listen, child of God, there is a power in surrender that surpasses what your mind can comprehend. The world teaches that power comes through effort, that control is earned through relentless action. From a young age, we in 39th are told to push harder, fight through, take charge, and strive for success. But I in 39th am here to tell you, your greatest strength, 1 in 39th, he come from battling. It comes from yielding. The world preaches control, but God calls you to release it and let him guide. What a divine contradiction, because 8 and 39th as in the very moment you yield your will to God that you in 39th will encounter your real strength. E1039th, when you stop clutching the steering wheel and let God take the lead. At N39th, when you enter the realm of his supernatural power. At N39th, when you become a vessel for his presence, a living conduit for his love, his mercy, and his peace. When we try to manage every detail, we chain ourselves to human limits. Our minds become crowded with anxiety, our hearts weighed down by fear, and our souls worn out from constantly striving. But when we surrender control and step forward into the unknown with God, we make room for the endless possibilities that only he can unlock. I want you to hear this clearly. You were never created to carry the weight of this life by yourself. That in 39th. That's why Jesus said, "Anquat, come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." To Anquat, he didn't in 39th. He say, "Anquat, come to me, and I and 39th. I'll give you more work." Dat Anquat, he didn't end 39th. He say, "Anquat, come to me, and I and 39th, I'll load you with more responsibility." At Anquat, no, he said, "Anquat, come to me, and I will give you rest." At Anquat, and I want you to understand, rest is not weakness. It is strength in its purest form. It is a mark of deep faith. When you choose to rest in God, you are showing trust that he is handling everything that matters to you. And resting in God in 39th, as does in 39th, T mean giving up. If it means letting go of doing it all alone and allowing him to carry what you were never meant to bear. It means believing in his wisdom, trusting his timing, and yielding to his greater plan. It means letting him fight the battles you can end 39th T when alone. It means releasing your grip on every little detail and opening your heart to his perfect guidance. That, my friend, is where real peace and freedom begin. Some of you are carrying fear. You in 39th, afraid of what will happen if you stop trying to stay in control. You in 39th, the scared things will fall apart if you in 39th are not steering every outcome. You think that if you loosen your grip, everything will unravel. But I in 39th am here to tell you, nothing will collapse when God is at the helm. What might fall away are the things never meant to be yours. What may break are the chains of self-dependence that have kept you captive. But God will never let anything that belongs to his divine plan slip from his grasp. There is no fear needed when you rest in his hands. Let me remind you of a story from the Gospels. One night, Jesus and his disciples found themselves in a fierce storm while sailing across a lake. The disciples were terrified, convinced they wouldn't, 39th, T survive. They rowed with all their might, doing everything they could to save themselves. But their strength wasn't 39th, T enough. And where was Jesus? He was sleeping, resting in the boat. He wasn't 39th, T worried about the waves. He wasn't 39th, T shaken by the storm. He wasn't 39th, T anxious about the thunder or the flashes of lightning. You might wonder, how could he possibly sleep through such a violent storm? Because Jesus knew something the disciples didn't. 39th, T. He knew that as long as he was with them in the boat, the storm could never sink them. And when they woke him in a panic, he didn't end 39th, he rushed to fix things. He didn't end 39th, he scrambled for a plan. He simply stood up and said, "Anquat, peace be still." Anquat. And at his word, the wind and the waves bowed in obedience. What did that teach us? It reminded us that during life in 39th, as storms, I-10 39th. It's not about how hard you row or how fiercely you try to fight. I-10 39th is about trusting that the one who commands the wind and the waves is by your side. And as long as he remains in your boat, the storm will never have the final word. I-10 39th, not about your strength. I-10 39th, about his nearness. Just be. Let God take over. You might feel like you in 39th are caught in your own personal storm right now. The waves feel overwhelming. The winds are fierce. And you sense that you in 39th are going under. But I in 39th am telling you, my friend, when you stop fighting in your own strength and put your faith in God, when you let him steer the sheep, peace will enter. The storm isn't in 39th going to last forever. God will hush the winds. He will calm the waves. And he will lead you safely to the shore. But here in 39th is the truth. You have to trust that he knows exactly what Hin 39th is doing. You have to believe Hin 39th is not asleep. Hin 39th is never absent from his post. Hin 39th is never blind to your pain. He knows exactly what you in 39th are facing. He sees every tear, every heartache, every whispered prayer, And in his perfect timing, he will walk into your storm and declare peace over it. But first, you need to let go. First, you need to trust him with the outcome. I know some of you have been carrying heavy burdens for years. UN 39th. Been trying to solve everything, to keep everything together, to manage what can end 39th, be managed. And the pressure is overwhelming. But I end 39th am here to say, you don't end 39th, have to carry it anymore. You were never meant to bear that burden alone. God is calling you to lay it down at his feet. He in 39th is inviting you to stop striving and begin surrendering. I understand Etan 39th as difficult. I know Etan 39th as not simple. I know how frightening it is to release the things you in 39th held on to for so long, but God never meant for you to live in fear. He never designed you to carry the whole world on your back. The truth is you weren't in 39th. He created to hold it all, but he can. And when you put your trust in him, when you stop trying to control the result, you in 39th, they'll feel a peace that surpasses every kind of understanding. I sense it deeply in my spirit. Some of you are right at the edge. You in 39th, been wrestling, striving, trying to hold everything up on your own. And you in 39th were exhausted. You in 39th were disheartened. You in 39th were ready to walk away. But hear me, the solution is not in pushing harder. The solution is in trusting God more. The breakthrough comes when you release control and allow him to take the lead. When you do that, the peace you in 39th longed for will finally come. The rest your soul is desperate for will meet you there. And when you rest in the Lord, you in 39th will also begin to see that his plan far exceeds anything you could have ever dreamed. You see, your plans are small, your wisdom is limited, but God in 39th, as plan is flawless. Item 39th, as overflowing with hope, rich with promise, and grounded in purpose. When you release your personal agenda and yield to his divine will, he will take you to places beyond anything you ever imagined. He will unlock doors no one can close. He will carve paths where none appear to exist. Let go, dear friend. Let go of anxiety. Let go of the fear. Let go of the urge to control it all and allow God to take over. He will carry you farther than you could ever reach on your own. He will raise you higher than you could ever climb with your own strength. Just be still. Stay near to his presence. Trust in his might and watch him perform wonders in your life. I want you to grasp this clearly, beloved. In God and 39th, as kingdom, Iten 39th, as not the powerful who triumph. Iten 39th, as the surrender. The world insists that you grind, hustle, and strive until there in 39th, nothing left. But in good and 39th, way. Iten 39th, as the meek, the brokenhearted, the ones who submit, who are lifted up. The truth is, when you push yourself to the edge of exhaustion, you drain the very strength that was never meant to be your own. But if you give it all to God, when you allow him to shape the process, his strength becomes perfect in your weakness. And why is that? Because God does in 39th. He rely on your power to fulfill his plan. He does in 39th. He require your intellect to bring his purpose to life. He does in 39th. He depend on your design to unfold his destiny. What he wants is your trust. What he in 39th is looking for is your obedience. What he longs to hear is your heart saying, end quote, Lord, I give you everything. I give you my hopes, my plans, my fears, my future, end quote, when you stop forcing things through your own effort. At in 39th, when his strength floods in. I know this is hard for many of you to accept because we in 39th been trained all our lives to stay in control. When 39th, been taught that if we don't in 39th, stand up for ourselves. No one else will. But listen to me. God will stand for you. When you in 39th are too weary to keep going, he will go before you. When the fight is too intense, when the pressure is too great, he will be your defender and protector. Let me remind you of this. God never wastes his power. He never misuses his strength. When you yield to him, you are aligning yourself to receive the fullness of his power. Do you see what that means? It means that every trial you encounter, God has already conquered. It means that every barrier, every foe, every hardship in your life, God has already claimed the victory. When you let go and allow him to move, you are simply stepping into the triumph he already prepared for you. Think about it, friend. How many of us have spent endless hours stressing, trying to solve everything, forcing things to work? How many of us have poured out effort only to watch our own strength fall short? How many of us have fought battles that were never meant for us to fight in the first place? We poured so much time and effort into trying to control everything. And what in 39th is the result? Exhaustion, discouragement, anxiety. But when we choose to surrender to God, when we stop striving and stop trusting, and 39th, when the miraculous begins to unfold, I want you to open your eyes, both in the natural and in the spiritual. You are surrounded by proof of God in 39th as divine orchestration. You see, God is always moving, even when at 39th, as hidden from our sight. You might think your circumstances are beyond hope, that your situation cannot be redeemed. But that in 39th, that's a lie from the enemy. God specializes in turning the impossible around. The same God who split the Red Sea, gave sight to the blind, and brought the dead back to life is the same God working in your life today. But here in 39th is the key, beloved. You have to stop trying to make everything happen in your own strength. You must stop wrestling with your own blueprint and trust that God in 39th, as design, is far more powerful than anything you could ever imagine. When you stop resisting his will and begin to align your heart with his, that in 39th, when his hand begins to move in ways beyond anything you in 39th dreamed. Let me tell you something more. God is never running late. His timing is always exact. We might not always grasp it. We might grow restless. We might long for things to shift immediately. But God in 39th, the schedule is always right on time. The waiting is none 39th, T punishment. E10 39th as preparation. God is readying you for what he in 39th about to bring into your life. The longer the wait, the greater the reward, the bigger the miracle, the more powerful the testimony. How often have we heard someone say, and what? I wish I had known then what I understand now. And what? How often have we looked back and realized the times we thought God had forgotten us were actually the moments he was getting us ready for something far better? The wilderness, beloved, is not a place of abandonment. I tend 39th as a place of transformation. God is refining you, shaping you, molding you, so that when the blessing comes, you in 39th will be ready to carry it. I know I-10 39th. It's not easy to wait, but I want to remind you, waiting is never wasted. God is working within you even when I-10 39th. It's not visible. In 39th, strengthening your faith. Hind 39th, deepening your character. Hind 39th, preparing you for the future. He already has planned for you. So don't on 39th, he grow weary in doing good. Don't on 39th, he let frustration blur your vision. Your breakthrough is on its way, and I-10 39th is arriving right on schedule. But I also want you to realize this. When you stop striving, you create space for God to work in the lives of others around you. You see, when you release control, you release your grip on other people. You stop trying to change them. You stop trying to manage every outcome. You stop trying to fix what was never yours to fix. And then 39th S, when God steps in and begins to move in their hearts. There are some of you who are struggling in relationships, trying to change people, trying to fix things that are outside your ability. I want to tell you today, stop trying to control them. Stop trying to change them. Release them into God and 39th hands and believe that he will do the work. God has the ability to soften hearts. He has the power to tear down walls. He has the strength to restore relationships. But it is not your role to fix people. It is your role to love them. It is your role to pray for them. It is your role to pray for them. It is your role to trust God with them. And when you let go of control, you will witness God move in their lives in ways you never could have imagined. This is not only about you and God. It's 1039th. That's about you, God, and the people surrounding you. Your surrender, your faith, your trust will influence everyone in your life. When you rest in God, when you stop striving, you allow others the freedom to do the same. You give them permission to believe, to rest, to trust. Your faith becomes a light to those around you, showing them they too can surrender and let God do the rest. So let me ask you, are you ready to let go? Are you ready to stop struggling and start resting in God in 39th as promises? Are you ready to believe that his plan for your life is far greater than anything you could ever imagine? If you are, then I tell you this. The moment you let go, the moment you surrender, you will step into the fullness of what God has already prepared for you. Just exist, child of God. Just rest in his presence. Let him handle the rest. He will open the doors. He will fight the battle. He will bring the breakthrough. He will create a way where there seems to be no way. And when you look back, you will understand that the only thing you ever needed to do was trust him. I want you to embrace this truth deep in your spirit. God in 39th, plan for your life is already unfolding. You don't in 39th, T need to design it. You don't in 39th, T have to control it. Your job is to trust, to yield, to surrender. God is not limited by time. His purposes go beyond the limits of this world. What he has promised to you, he will certainly accomplish. His word declares, and what? The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. And what? Exodus 14:14. But so many of us in our human nature feel the pressure to make everything happen by ourselves. We believe we must direct every detail, every outcome, as though God is somehow unable to do what he has said. Let me assure you, God is fully capable. In truth, he in 39th is the only one who truly is. 8:39th. It's time to stop pushing against what God has already established. You are not alone in this. You have not been left to your own strength. The creator of the universe is already working on your behalf, and his plan is flawless. When you stop striving, when you release the wheel, you give God the space to guide your life. I know I-1039th is hard. I know I-1039th as difficult. But remember this, God 1039th, as timing is never off. And his answers are always right on point. Some of you may be asking, and what if I mess up? What if I miss the direction? And what? I want you to take this to heart. When you in 39th are walking by faith, when you in 39th are seeking God with sincerity, even your missteps are woven into his purpose. God and 39th, his grace surrounds you. Even in moments where you feel like you in 39th have fallen short, God steps in to fill the gap. His strength shines most in your weakness. His grace is more than enough for you. And no matter what you in 39th are facing, if you rest in him, he will work all things together for your good. Do you believe that today? There's a profound peace that comes when you understand you were never designed to carry the burdens of the world. That weight was never meant for you. The pressure, the stress, the anxiety, the relentless striving, those don't in 39th T come from God. They are the enemy in 39th as tools to weigh you down, to keep you from your true calling. The enemy wants you to think everything depends on your effort. He wants you to fear that if you don't in 39th T control it all, it will fall apart. But here in 39th, that's the truth. It was never all on you. God holds the reins. And when you let go of your grip, you allow his supernatural power to work in your life. I understand some of you are going through trials that feel impossible to bear. You in 39th, we prayed. You in 39th, we held on to hope. Yet, it feels like nothing is shifting. But I want to reassure you, beloved, God is working behind the scenes. His silence does end 39th. Die mean in 39th, not present. Just because you don't in 39th. Die see movement does in 39th. Die mean he isn't in 39th. Die active on your behalf. God is not limited by your senses. He works in dimensions beyond our perception. And sometimes the very hardship you in 39th re-enduring is what he in 39th is using to shape you for something far greater than anything you can envision. Your pain, your trials, your difficulties, they are not meaningless. They in 39th were part of your preparation. 8 and 39th. Through the heat that gold becomes pure. I-10, 39th. As through the storm that the ship becomes resilient. I-10, 39th. As in the night that the stars shine brightest. So when you feel like quitting, when it seems like everything in 39th falling apart, remember, God is using that very moment to prepare you for a destiny greater than you could ever dream. Do you trust him in the quiet? Do you trust him in the waiting? Can you believe he in 39th is still in control even when life feels like 8 and 39th? Unraveling at 39th as the heart of true faith. But I assure you of this, God in 39th as purposes never fail. The world may let you down. People might break your trust. But God in 39th, this word remains unshaken. His promises are certain. God is not asking you to carry your life in 39th as burdens on your own. In 39th, inviting you to lay him down at his feet. And when you do, you open yourself to divine possibilities. That mountain you in 39th been trying to move. 8 and 39th already being moved. That valley you in 39th they've been walking through. God is right there walking beside you in it. The battle you in 39th they've been facing, 8 and 39th already been won. Stop trying to fight with your own strength. Stop carrying the burdens you were never meant to bear. Simply remain in God in 39th as grace and allow him to handle the rest. I want you to truly hear this. You are not overlooked. You might feel small. You might feel invisible. You might think you in 39th are just one person in a massive world struggling to make any kind of difference. But listen, God sees you. He knows your heart. He understands your pain. He is aware of your desires. He sees the depth of your longing. and he has already made a way for you. But here in 39th, the key, beloved, you must trust him enough to release it all. There comes a time when you must stop trying to direct your own future. There comes a moment when you must surrender your hopes, your plans, and your battles into his hands. And when you do, the windows of heaven will open wide. You will experience peace that goes beyond human understanding. You will witness God in 39th and move in your life in ways you never thought possible. So let me ask, are you ready to release it? Are you ready to stop striving? Are you ready to believe that God is not just able, but eager to fulfill every promise he in 39th made to you? I know 8/10 39th's not easy. I know it feels uncertain. But that in 39th is what faith is, to trust without seeing, to believe in what seems impossible, and to surrender fully to the will of our Almighty God. So I encourage you with everything in me. Just exist. Take your hands off the controls. Stop pushing for an outcome. Stop laboring over what God has already declared finished. Let God take over. He will guide you. He will provide. He will defend you. Put your confidence in his flawless plan, his perfect timing, his faithful provision. And when you do, you will witness the power of God moving in your life in ways beyond anything you could imagine. Just exist and let God do the rest. The Lord invites us to rest in him, not because in 39th, unaware of what we face, but because he knows we were never designed to carry it all. Too many of us are walking through life under the weight of stress, trying to handle loads we were never meant to lift. We think we have to manage everything. Our money, our health, our relationships, our future. We act like it's 39th. It's all up to us. But the truth is God is sovereign and God is good. He is working in the unseen, orchestrating details far beyond what we can grasp. And he is infinitely more capable than we are. When we yield to God, when we stop trying to do everything ourselves, we create room for his supernatural strength to take over. You are not alone in this walk. You don't in 39th need to stress about the how or the when. You only need to focus on the who. And the who is the one who created the stars, the one who speaks and the seas grow still, the one who holds your life in his hands. He is in charge and he is completely trustworthy. The issue is that too often we fix our eyes on our circumstances. We dwell on what in 39th beyond our control. We obsess over our problems and unintentionally give them more power than they ever deserve. But I want to remind you of something important. Your circumstances do not define who you are. Your situation is passing, but good in 39th, as love and his purpose for your life are everlasting. He sees the end from the beginning. He is not alarmed by your current struggle. He in 39th, already working behind the scenes. But what if instead of constantly worrying about everything beyond our reach, we chose to trust God with everything we cannot see? What if we spent more time recognizing that he holds our future in his hands and has already gone before us? Just imagine the peace that would overflow in your soul if you truly believe that. Picture the freedom you in 39th, walk, and if you loosened your grip, took your hands off every detail, and surrendered it all to God. Some of you may be wondering, and what? How do I trust like that? How do I release my anxiety, my fear, my need to be in control? And quad, let me tell you, it starts with a choice. It is an act of faith. You don't in 39th, you need to know every step, but you do need to decide to trust. Trust done in 39th. T guarantee that storms won in 39th, T come. It means that when they do, you in 39th, re confident in the one who commands the storm. Freedom does and 39th. T mean you in 39th, hell, never face unknowns. It means you know the one who holds tomorrow, and he is good. When you choose to trust God, you are choosing peace. You are choosing rest. You are choosing to believe that the one who called you and redeemed you is more than capable of guiding you exactly where he wants you to go. You don't and 39th, need to have it all figured out. Just exist. Let God take care of the rest. Above all, I want to remind you, beloved, that God in 39th's ways are not like ours. His thoughts are far above our own. So many of us try to rush his process. We try to speed up his plan. But God is never in a hurry. His timing is flawless. God does in 39th. Make mistakes. You might be in a season of waiting. Waiting for a response, a breakthrough, an open door. But let me tell you, your waiting is not wasted. In fact, Etan 39th As often in the waiting that God does his deepest work within you, he in 39th shaping you, he in 39th strengthening your trust, he in 39th developing your patience, your endurance, and your faith. Think about Abraham in 39th story. God gave him a promise that he would be the father of many nations. Yet, he had to wait for years. Sarah, his wife, was barren, and the promise felt out of reach. But Abraham did in 39th. He forced the promise into being by his own effort. He waited, he believed. And in God in 39th, perfect timing, God fulfilled his word. The promise came to pass. What God has declared over your life will come to pass. Not because you forced it into being, but because God is faithful to fulfill his word. And let me assure you, at 39th, it's no different for you. God has a purpose for your life. A good purpose, a flawless plan. You might not see the path right now, but God is moving behind the scenes. You may not understand the reason for the trials you and 39th are walking through, but God is using every part of it for your benefit. And when the time is right, he will bring you into the fullness of his promises. You don't end 39th to need to know all the details or timelines. You just need to know that God is in control and he will create a way where none appears to exist. There is a peace that comes when you yield to God and 39th as direction. A peace that goes beyond logic. This peace, 1 and 39th, it always makes sense to the world. The world will tell you to push harder, to take charge, to stay in control. But God in 39th, as peace arrives when we stop fighting and begin to trust. It settles in when we stop striving and start surrendering. When you trust God to handle what you cannot, you in 39th, He'll witness his provision in ways that surpass your imagination. And he will sustain you in the desert. He will unlock doors that no one can close. He will renew your strength when you feel depleted. He will give you insight when you in 39th are unsure of what step to take. But you have to release control. And when you allow God to take over, you in 39th, will discover a joy that does in 39th to depend on your situation. It flows from knowing you in 39th are walking in his will. Your joy 1 in 39th, to rely on what you see with your eyes, but on the deep peace rooted within. You in 39th, I'll be able to face the storms of life with praise in your heart, confident that God is still on the throne. The more time you spend simply existing in go down 39th as presence, the more freedom you will feel from trusting him. The more you release, the clearer you in 39th, he'll see go down 39th, and in your life. When you stop striving, when you stop trying to manage it all, you create space for God to move in powerful ways. You in 39th, LC doors swing open, broken relationships mended, long-lost dreams revived, and the impossible becoming reality. All because you let God handle the rest. I want to remind you again, this journey is not about your strength. Item 39th, not about your cleverness. Item 39th, it's not about how well you can hold it all together. Item 39th, about placing your trust in the God who made you. The God who cherishes you. The God who has never failed and never will. You don't on 39th. You need to have all the answers. You don't on 39th. You need to understand every step. Just remain in his grace. Just trust him. Let God take it from here. And when you do, you in 39th, they'll discover a peace that cannot be shaken. You in 39th, they'll experience a joy that words can end 39th to explain. And you in 39th, they'll witness God move in your life in ways you never imagined possible. He is faithful. He is capable. And he will finish what he started. Beloved, I want you to know today, God in 39th. His call on your life isn't in 39th. T about striving. Item 39th is about surrender. We are not asked to battle through life in our own strength, to shoulder every burden without his direction, or to manipulate outcomes to fit our plan. The more tightly we hold on to control, the more we become trapped by fear and anxiety. But the more we release control, the more his peace rushes into our hearts and minds. There's true freedom in surrender. Item 39th, when we give our will over to God, that we begin to discover who we truly are. Too many of us are living under the pressure of the world and 39th as expectation, or even under the weight of our own inner voices telling us what we should become. We measure our value by achievements, by public approval, by the things we own, but God does in 39th to evaluate us the way the world does. His measurement is love, faithfulness, and obedience. He looks straight into the heart. And when you surrender that heart to him, he begins to shape and refine you into the person he in the 39th has always destined you to be. The truth is each one of us is in desperate need of Gedan 39th as grace. and that grace is more than enough. When we rest in his grace, we stop trying to earn acceptance. We stop the race to prove ourselves. Godin 39th, as grace is a gift, not a reward. And it is sufficient to carry us through every hardship, every setback, every trial. You don't in 39th, T need to be flawless. You don't in 39th, T need to have it all figured out. You simply need to stay in his presence, and he will take care of the rest. Now, I know some of you are walking through incredibly difficult situations. Some of you are standing on the edge of hopelessness, unsure how to make it through another day. The weight on your shoulders feels unbearable, and the urge to seize control grows stronger. But hear me clearly. God has never abandoned you. When the storm rages, he is right there. When the road ahead is uncertain, he is leading the way. When you feel like you in 39th are drowning, he is the solid ground beneath you. Trust in his nearness and remember, he is with you always. They're in 39th. As a reason we in 39th are called to live by faith, not by sight. Faith doesn't 39th. To depend on what we can see or fully understand. I tend 39th, built on the assurance of what we hope for, the confidence in what we cannot yet see. And I tend 39th within this space of faith that God performs his most powerful work. When we let go, he takes over. When we step out in trust, he walks beside us. The Apostle Paul, in his letter, speaks of a peace that goes beyond all understanding. This peace is in 39th, T dependent on what in 39th, happening around us. It is in 39th, T a peace that crumbles under the pressure of life in 39th, storms. Right in 39th, a peace grounded in the confidence that we are held securely in the hands of a sovereign God. A peace that declares even if everything falls apart, I remain safe in his embrace. That in 39th. That's what it means to simply exist and let God take over. It does in 39th to mean putting your life on hold. It means stepping into the rim of God in 39th. It's purpose for you, believing that in 39th, in control and letting him lead you forward. We often convince ourselves that we must have everything figured out. We feel the need for a detailed plan, a clear strategy, a map for every turn. But God, done 39th, they always reveal things that way. He leads us step by step, one day at a time, moment by moment. Hind 39th, not focused on giving us the full picture all at once. What he desires is our trust, our surrender, and our willingness to follow him one step at a time. When we choose to place our trust in God, we're in 39th, we're choosing peace. When we choose surrender, we're in 39th, we're stepping into freedom. And when we let go of the urge to control every detail, we create space for good in 39th. Power to move in ways far beyond anything we could imagine. Duns in 39th, he just want to carry you through. He wants to see you flourish. He wants you to walk in joy, with meaning and with strength, knowing that he is working all things for your good. You are not drifting through life without direction. You are a child of the Most High, and your life carries divine purpose. I-10 39th, time to stop living beneath the pressure of your own expectations. I-10 39th, it's time to let go of the belief that everything depends on you. God will take care of it. He will provide what you need. He will make the way. He will open doors no one can close. He will protect you. He will empower you. Just exist. Hand it all to him. Let God do the rest. Some of you are in a season of waiting, hoping for God to move in your situation. You in 39th, been praying, seeking, waiting for a shift, for an answer. And in the waiting, remember this: God is never early, and he is never late. His timing is always perfect. Even when it feels like nothing is changing, while you wait, he's working behind the scenes in ways you cannot yet perceive. And when the time is right, he will bring the answer, the provision, the healing, and the breakthrough you in 39th been seeking. I know I-10 39th. It's not easy. I know it hurts to wait when it feels like your prayers go unheard. Your efforts fall flat, and your heart grows heavy. But listen, beloved, God is faithful. He has not overlooked you. He has not walked away. He will not leave you wandering in the wilderness forever. So keep trusting, keep seeking, keep believing. He will take care of the rest. Scripture reminds us that in our weakness, he is strong. When we are exhausted, he becomes our source of strength. You don't end 39th. T need to have it all figured out. You don't end 39th. T need to carry every burden on your shoulders. Simply exist. Rest in his grace. Rest in his unfailing love. He has made a promise to care for you, and he will. He will guide you through every storm. He will bring you safely to the other side. And he will do it in a way that brings honor to his name. And when you look back over your journey, you in 39th, they'll realize it was never your strength that sustained you. It was his. It was his power. It was his unwavering faithfulness. It was his amazing grace. Let God handle the rest. He will take you to victory. He will lead you to peace. He will fulfill the dreams he planted deep within your heart. Today, I encourage you, beloved, stop striving, stop struggling, stop trying to carry it all alone. Just exist. Let God take care of the rest. And as you do, you will step into a life marked by peace, purpose, and divine power, because you in 39th, walking in alignment with the will of God. And there is no safer, no greater place to be. As we wrap up this moment, I want you to hold on to this truth. God is greater than any problem you will ever encounter. He is fully able. Your situation, no matter how overwhelming, is not beyond his ability. His hands are never too short to reach you. And his heart is always open to those who draw near to him. Release the burdens you in 39th. They've been carrying, the pressure to fix everything, the weight of worry, the exhausting need to be perfect. That load was never yours to bear. Surrender it to him. Just exist in the richness of his grace, confident that he will take care of the rest. As you move forward, remember this: you never walk alone. The one who created the heavens walks with you, stands behind you, and lives within you. He's your guiding light, your inner strength, and the very purpose of your life. All he asks is for your trust and your willingness to follow his lead. When you place your trust in him, when you surrender everything, his power becomes your strength. His peace becomes your own. His victory becomes your testimony. So release the fear, the uncertainty, and the distraction. Let go of the need to control and the pressure to have every answer. Simply exist in his presence, in his love, and in his grace. And know right there in that sacred space, God will perform wonders far beyond anything you could have imagined. He will bring the healing you in 39th be hoped for, the breakthrough you in 39th be prayed for, and the transformation your soul longs for. Just exist. Let God do the rest, and watch him turn your life